Hi, and welcome to Kismet. I'm your host, Bree Estelle, and I'm so grateful you're here. I'm a Western tropical astrologer and a somatic healer, and this podcast is an offering for the collective for the upcoming Libra New Moon. So, again, I appreciate you being here. If you want to support me, I would love it if you would hit the like button. It's a very simple way to show some love and some support. And I'm going to share the screen. So if you are watching and would like to look at the chart, then you're welcome to do so. Okay, so we're finishing up Libra season with this Libra new moon at the 28th degree. And this new moon is a beginning point, and as I've talked about in previous podcasts, it's beginning a new 2.5 year cycle. Now, this cycle is going to revolve around the 28th, 29th degrees of Libra and the 0 degree of Scorpio. So if you have planets or points that correlate to these degrees, you may be feeling this new moon more specifically or more directly, or it may be dealing with something very specific in your life. So there is this building energy also that is happening over the next 5 to 6 new moon cycles. So for the next 5 or 6 months, we're going to have every new moon at 28 degrees. So if you have planets or points at 28 degrees anywhere in your chart, then this is likely going to be a very powerful and significant 6 months. I have a lot of planets and points around the 28th degree, so I am definitely feeling this and would love to hear it if you are as well. Especially, this is going to be happening in the signs of Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. But any point in the chart will correlate to one of these 28 degree new moons. So, as you may know, new moons are times that we want to be specifically setting intentions for manifestation, meaning that we want to be intentional with our energy and our focus, and we want to use our words to sow into our lives. So, as we plant seeds under this new moon, you want to not be thinking, oh, what's going to manifest in the next 2 weeks, but a longer term, like, what am I building in my life? What do I want to see grow and transform and expand over the next 2.5 years? The Libra new moon holds the amazing manifesting magic of Venus. Okay, Venus is a planet of love and beauty and the sweetness of life. Venus connects us to living a life that's filled with what we love. And not just fantasy or romance, while that's wonderful, that's often short-lived because it's more um, temporary. But the real love of Venus is being filled up when you wake up in the morning. This is the kind of love of being fully alive, living every day, looking at the sky, looking at the trees, looking at the flowers, no matter what the season is, and being connected with the earth. That's Venus. Venus connects us to the cycles of the earth, the beauty of the earth. And when we're connected to the energy of love, life truly becomes magical. And this is why I said this is quite a magical new moon and a perfect time to be connecting with the things that are truly beautiful in our lives. Now, beautiful and lovely and Venus energy is not about being perfect. It is not about picturesque. It is not about everything being just so. It's actually the interesting, the intriguing, the curious, the captivating energy of being in awe and wonder of the smallest moments of life. Now, about 99% of the world is not living this way, and this is because we are very caught up in the distractions of life, the distractions of everything that is wrong with the world, where Venus is asking us to tap into inspiration, to tap into rest, to tap into slowing down, to tap into The trust that we don't have to try so hard. We don't have to force life. That's Venus energy. So look at your chart and see what house 28 degrees of Libra falls into for you. Okay, check and see if you have planets or points that correspond. And this is the time to be considering how that might be interacting with you in your specific life. And if you cannot look at the chart and tell these things, then consult with an astrologer. This is what astrologers are here to do. And this is what I do: transit readings, solar return readings, birth chart readings, monthly, month ahead readings. These are all incredible ways to check in with the moon cycles. So the ruler of this new moon is Venus. And Venus is at 9 degrees of Libra in the chart. And Libra is making a very nice and important sextile to an asteroid called Juno. And Juno has some affiliation with Venus. Now, Venus is in Libra, it's an air energy. Venus is in that beautiful relating quality of creativity and love and beauty. And it's making a positive aspect to Juno. Juno is the asteroid that represents partnerships, commitments, committed relationships, commitments to ourself. And so there is a strong energetic of curiosity and passion and adventure because we have Juno in this sign of Sagittarius. So there's a feeling of committing to your own adventure, to your own passions, to your own life. And of course, for some people, this is going to be that you're actually making a commitment to a partner around this time. And if you are, there is a very supportive energy related to this partnership and to the expansive energy that the partnership is bringing. So, because we have Venus in an air energy, this is going to be an exceptionally powerful day to be using your voice and speaking out what it is that you intend to manifest and to commit to. Now, most importantly, we want to be committing to something for ourselves. It's wonderful to commit to a partner, but ultimately, if you are not committed to yourself, then that partnership is going to end up becoming a struggle. Because if we put the partnership and the commitment to our partnership above ourselves, and this is very Libra energy, then we're going to end up becoming resentful and we're going to lose ourselves. So under this new moon, think about what it is that you want to invest in for yourself, for your healing, for your own love, for your own passion, for your own health. You also might be thinking about what does it mean for you to connect with the energy of what is beautiful and what is lovely and what you love in your life. And please, not who you love. Who you love is wonderful, but how can you begin to access love within yourself? So new moon energy invites us to just take a pause, slow down, breathe, and most importantly, begin to open your heart. Not for what will be or what is to come, not what you're going to manifest, but this is the invitation to connect to loving what is happening right now, where you are right now. And a saying that I have heard over the last few years that I like and feels very fitting for this new moon is amor fati. And this means loving what is, loving faded experiences and events. This doesn't mean that we want everything to happen. It means that we can love being in our bodies, that we can bring presence, that we can bring awareness, that we can bring awareness to our aliveness. So even if things are not happening in a beautiful way in your external world right now, you can taste, touch, smell, feel, or look at something beautiful. And through that sensual experience, that's Venus, you can begin to stir love from within you. And this is, sort of what I was saying earlier, that Venus Libra energy is here to teach us that love is not something that comes towards us, but love is something that's generated within us. And therefore, love can never actually be taken away because love is actually coming from within. And so we can access the feeling of love internally without needing it to be in the external world. And obviously, this is a life's work. Many people do not know how to do this. This is one of the things I'm seeking to teach and guide people to learn how to invoke the feeling of love from within you. And what's important is, can you do this without substances? Can you do this without psychedelics? Or can you do this without alcohol or marijuana or whatever else? Substances are not bad or wrong, but they can hinder us from actually learning how to cultivate the feeling of love from within us. Something that is just very simple that you can do with Venus energy is just look at your hands. Look down at these incredible hands that you have and marvel at how they take you through life and how they give you opportunities. Maybe you don't have hands. Maybe you look at the flowers. Maybe you gaze at the sunset, right? Maybe you watch the birds. Maybe you stare at the clouds. Maybe you sit by the water. Maybe you take a bath or a shower, right? All of these little things you can do to tap into this feeling of love from within. And you can remember that love from within begets love from without. So, of course, I am saying this knowing full well that many people are really struggling experiencing love and experiencing beauty right now. And I am honoring that people are in really deep struggle. I know the feeling of being in the depths of darkness and difficulty and feeling like there is no beauty in the world and feeling distraught and hopeless. I am very acquainted with that feeling and I understand it. And I'm here to tell you that sometimes we do go through periods of life when our libido is low and we will struggle to access that love. And when we go through that season, that is symbolic of a deconstruction process. There is a time of our lives where we go through a loss of love and where we're going through a season like autumn where things begin to fall away and things maybe get hard like they do in winter. And you may be in one of those seasons right now. And so I still implore you in the midst of this season, if you're in the middle of struggle, to still find a glimmer of beauty because that will be something that you can hold on to. And it doesn't have to be internal initially, it can be external. So, yeah, you can look at the sky, you can look at the stars at night, you can connect with this earth and this remembering that you do belong here. Okay, so this new moon is an initiation point, and it is very significant regarding a deep emotional wound that we've been working through since 2019. Now, for some of us, it may not have started in 2019, it may have started at any point since then, but I'm saying this because we have Chiron in Aries in an opposition to the sun and the moon, and this is very sensitive energy. And so this next 6 months is going to be a powerful time to be healing the wound of the self, the capacity to live your own life, to be invested in yourself, to know what it is that you want. And most of the time, we think we want things that are external. But really what we want is an internal knowing. And that is Chiron in Aries. It's about who are you? Who did you come here to be? Not who did you come here to be like? Who did you come here to be? What is your unique essence? And what would it be for you to truly tap into that? And this is an ancient question. It is a difficult question, especially because we are so highly influenced by other people. And when we see what other people are doing and we think it looks good or pretty or nice or appealing or important, we can be persuaded to think that that's what we want. And this new moon is a time to become aware of where you may be in an illusion about what you actually want, and that you need to draw away from others so that you can figure out what you love, what gives you energy, what truly lights you up from the inside out. So often people want to start businesses to make money, but if you are starting something that you are not passionate about, you're going to exhaust yourself. And that is this Libra energy that gets exhausted by giving to things that are not in alignment. So tap in with what Venus, where Venus is in your birth chart, because that's going to connect you with things that light you up, with what you love, and with what gets you excited, where your passions are. Um, this can be, especially if, like me, Venus is in the 12th house, this can be very hidden. This is not always very obvious. And that's okay. This is what we're here for. We're here on this planet discovering what we love. And you cannot do this wrong. Everything is an experiment. Okay, there is a big grand square in the chart, and this is with Jupiter being square the sun and the moon, Jupiter being square Chiron, and then sun and moon and Chiron square Pluto. So we have a lot of big opportunities coming up in the next 2.5 years that are for growth and expansion. This is going to feel like, for some people, big challenges, probably around family, maybe elders in your family, maybe needing to separate from your family. This could also be that you're dealing with and fighting with the feeling of nostalgia. Now, nostalgia has its gifts and it has a big shadow. Nostalgia can keep us very stuck. Nostalgia is wanting things to stay the same, looking backwards and thinking that what is behind us or what was behind us is something we need to go back to. And that is a huge, huge illusion. We don't want to go backwards. We're going forwards. We want to evolve, not devolve. And so this is a period where emotional wisdom is really paramount, and taking the time to sit with what's really coming up and what's underneath all these deep emotions. With Jupiter moving through Cancer, this is a highly emotional time. We still have the North Node in Pisces, which means there are a lot of deep healing things to be experienced and moved through over the next 9 months or so. Now, Mars and Mercury are conjunct in the sign of Scorpio. And so there's a lot of important and intense conversations, ideas, communications, emails, phone calls, text messages that are going to be coming through during this time. And this is going to probably have us thinking really deeply about whatever we're going through. Mars and Mercury are making a grand trine with Jupiter and the North Node and Saturn. And so there's could be a lot of overthinking during this time. And this is where my somatic release and neuro reprogramming work will be very supportive for people, because this is going to be about needing to release deep attachments and mental constructs, specifically destructive thought loops that you may have been stuck in. And if you have planets or points around 20 degrees of Scorpio, this is going to be even more specific for you. So be aware that this is not a time to get stuck in your mind, but to dig deeper into your own psyche. understanding yourself is really what's going to help you to move beyond this stuck energy and heal this wound. Okay, now I want to talk about the Libra archetypal axis with Aries. So Libra and Aries are on one axis. They're both cardinal energies. They're both about initiating and leadership. The time of year that Libra governs is this shift in energy where we are beginning to deconstruct. But it is a initiation energy. Now, Libra's, as I mentioned, ruled by Venus, so it has all these beautiful qualities of harmony, grace, aesthetics, art. It's about flow. It's about seeing the design. It's about seeing the balance. It's about seeing how to put things together in a way that looks and feels congruent and beautiful and in alignment. Libra is an air sign. It's about communications, ideas, thought processes. It is a thinking energy. Now, Libra's archetypal energy is constantly thinking about how things work, why they work or why they don't work, and how to find the truth. Libra tends to be thinking about both sides of the argument, and Libra can make an argument for either side. Libra is very focused on how other people feel, the temperature of the room, the tone of a conversation, and the comfort level of everyone else in the room. So the air energy here is picking up on how other people are behaving in the space. Libra is highly tuned to what is happening in relationship to other people. Now, this does not mean that Libra is always right about what it is perceiving, but it is perceiving, and sometimes it is perceiving the wrong thing. Okay, Libra and its opposite sign is Aries. Okay, Aries represents the individual and being alone. It's about literally going on in life on your own. And Libra represents how we bring ourself, Aries, into relationship with a person. Now, a lot of people misconstrue this and they think, oh, Libra is about relationships and it's about the other. And that's the shadow of Libra. What Libra's energy is really about is learning how to bring your authentic Aries self, your individual self, into a relationship without losing yourself. And this is why Libra is the scales of balance, because it is about trying to figure out how to be in a relationship with another person without losing a sense of self. Of course, this is a major struggle for humans, and it's a major struggle for Libra. Most people either embody sort of the more fire energy of Aries, Leo, and Sag, which is, I can take up all the space. I'm really big and really bright, and I can show up and fill up a room. Or people embody the, oh, I'll let them take up all the space, and they sort of take a back seat. Now, these two different dynamics aren't the only thing that people embody, but we can see there's a big polarization within people. And usually in a friend group, you'll have one friend who is the one who is always talking maybe about themselves or what's happening with them, and the other person is always holding space. This is the Aries Libra axis. Aries being the person who wants to talk all about themselves and take up all the space, Libra being the person who is going to hold the space for the other person. But this is inherently out of balance. So we tend to think that's what the balance is. No, that's not what the balance is. That's actually the shadow. And most people are leaning into the shadow energy of Libra. This means that Most people are in the codependent energy of Libra, which is constantly creating a place that is okay for other people to be seen, heard, or understood, but never really safe for that individual to be seen, heard, or understood. So Libra can be an energy where people who embody this are always trying to make other people happy, always trying to make other people comfortable and seen, and constantly thinking about the needs of others or how to create harmony with others. And this is an avoidant energy. So Libra tends to have an avoidant energy, avoiding conflict. But this is all the shadow, okay? Still the shadow of Libra. Libra in the shadow is also filled with judgment, right and wrong. It is about morality, and it is about being very judgmental when someone doesn't agree with what Libra thinks is moral, right, integrous, or good. So Libras can be very judgmental inwardly or privately, but externally they may show this um, nice face, inwardly being very upset that people aren't doing things maybe the right way. Now, the shadow of Libra gets into proving, forcing, and trying to show others our rightness. This gets us in a very destructive energy inwardly because what happens is we're projecting everything externally. No one usually expects this with Libra energy because Libra shows up very nice, very thoughtful, very tuned in, very appropriate, very thoughtful of how they are carrying themselves. But this is the shadowy part of Libra's energy, and it's very slippery. It's very hard for us to see this about ourselves, where we're trying to show up in a certain way, but deep down, we're actually trying to get our needs met. And this is that Libra Aries codependent narcissistic energy, where every narcissist is the codependent, every codependent is the narcissist. These are one in the same axis. Each goes about getting their needs met in different ways. So the narcissistic, the Aries side is this direct, I'm going to go right for it. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to be very blunt, very straightforward. And Libra is the more covert, more focused on making things look a certain way externally, but really trying to get their needs met in an underhanded way. And so as we think about this energy for ourselves and how can we tune into becoming more conscious with Libra energy, we want to begin to see, where am I not able to clearly meet my own needs? Because everything comes down to, are you able, again, to do you know what you want? Are you able to meet your need of what it is that you desire, and not what it is that you want from another person, but what it is that you want because you want it for yourself? And this is a struggle for Libra because the shadow is, let me try to meet everybody else's needs and focus on them and put myself last or second. And what that does is it creates a huge shadow for us. So as we work with Libra in ourselves and in our energy, we have to give ourselves permission to embody the consciousness of Libra, which is actually knowing exactly what you want and knowing how to get it and knowing how to do it in a graceful way. And also knowing that it's okay if we don't agree with everyone else, that that's not what we came here to do. So the conscious form of Libra is actually a deeply wise energy. And wise energy is about listening, asking questions, contemplating, and not insisting on knowing the answer. Wise energy never tells other people how to solve their problems. And the wise energy of Libra offers guidance and insight, but always allows other people to make their own choices and knows that it's safe for other people to choose what is best for them. So wise energy never assumes that it knows everything. Wise energy also does not abandon itself when someone else is uncomfortable. So Libra can learn how to hold space for the world around it being uncomfortable. And this is the ability to embody grace. Yes, life is uncomfortable sometimes. Wise energy of Libra is also never going to carry the emotional burdens of others because wise energy understands that you have to you have to deal with your own emotions. They're internal, and there's nothing someone can do about someone else's inner world. And we cannot take on the responsibility of fixing other people's inner emotions. So wise energy is about that sitting, waiting, contemplating. It is about discerning and deeply listening to the self. Libra is also about developing self-esteem, and this means that we become clear about what energy is aligned and what energy is not aligned. When Libra is in the shadow or the codependent side, it's going to be very avoidant and non-confrontational. And if you find yourself in this energy, you're going to be doing too much listening, too much holding space, and too much insisting or trying to force your way. And this is going to end up depleting and exhausting you. So, Libra is about this ability to consciously separate ourselves from others and to teach ourselves that it is safe for us to be different, that we don't have to be the same in order to be in the same space, because we can hold space for people that are different than us. And this is non-judgment. Now, in the shadow, Libra is very judgmental, and that is because of the fear of being rejected. We become judgmental if we are actually rejecting a part of ourselves. So, with this Libra energy, we want to learn self-esteem. We want to learn how to be safe, being unique, being different, having our own views, and knowing that we don't need everyone else to hold the same ideals, views, thoughts, or beliefs as us. And that actually, if we could create that within ourselves, we would create a safe world for the rest of the world to live in. Because it isn't about needing to push people away. It is about just allowing people to be what they are. It's through allowing people to be that we let go of that resistance. And as I've talked about on previous podcasts, whatever you're in resistance to is persisting. So if you are in resistance to a person or a group of people and you are pushing against their ideals and their ways of being, you're saying they're wrong, then you are creating more of that resistance in your life and you're creating more of that energy dynamic. The strength of Libra is to say they're allowed to have whatever beliefs they want, and their beliefs do not hinder me from having mine. Obviously, this is a big subject, and people are going to have lots of thoughts about this, but you need to tune in with wisdom. And wisdom will take what I just said and think about it very deeply before responding. And that is the energy of Libra. And we all have access to Libra energy. Now, sometimes it's in our 12th house or our 8th house or our 4th house, and maybe it is in a more shadowy energy and it's really hard for us to understand. And that's okay. We can still learn about it. So, Libra's energy invites us to discern. Now, through discernment, we will understand what groups of people, what experiences, what relationships are for us and are aligned with us, and which ones are not. And through that, rather than judging and needing to make people wrong, we just remove ourselves from things that are not aligned. This keeps us from being in judgment. And again, this is a really high bar And in order to live this out, you will need to reprogram your entire body, mind, and spirit because our bodies are generally very afraid when we don't fit in with others and when we have a group of people that are in disagreement. And this is why we get into judgment because of fear. So, as we think about tuning into Libra's strength is about discernment. It is about congruency within. It is about knowing the self. It is about feeling safe to embody who you are, no matter what's happening in the world around you. Libra is also about being able to communicate ourselves. This means that we're able to be who we are, even when people don't like that. Libra is also a strong energy that has to do with guiding. We do not guide anyone through forcing or insisting. That is not wisdom. Guiding comes through creating space, creating a space to listen, creating, putting ideas out there without insisting that they be right or wrong. So, as you're setting up a little space under this new moon, which is happening Tuesday, October the 21st, very early in the morning here in Arizona, 5:25 a.m. This is a great day to be thinking about some intentions and doing a little bit of reflection. When there is no moon, this is the time where we can sit down and really be honest with ourselves. So here's some questions that you can consider under this new moon. What are the people, places, and spaces that feel aligned to my path? And what are the places that do not? What are the intentions that I want to invest in? What people, places, or spaces? In what ways do I need to end codependent relating or relationships? And then after that, write down what your intention is. How do you want to relate differently? How do you want to show up differently? How would you talk? How would you move your body? And lastly, are there any difficult conversations that you need to have? Maybe with yourself, maybe with someone else. This is the time to set intentions around working through some very karmic energies. We have Saturn involved in this grand trine with Jupiter. You may be needing to set some boundaries with your family, with the drama that's happening with other people's lives. If you are wrapped in the drama of other people's lives, you are losing energy. That's too much for me to explain in this podcast, but I will just say that for now, that you want to remove yourself from the drama of other people's lives. Now, most of us think that being involved in drama makes us important, but that's a Scorpio. We'll talk about that in Scorpio season. That's a Scorpio energy. But I'm going to leave it here for now. Um, there's so many things that could be coming up for you in during this new moon around this time. And remember, we have the next 6 months where we're going to be correlating to this 28th degree. And there is something very specific that you are growing and working towards and sort of birthing in your life. And each month is going to be a progression of this birthing experience. So, again, if you've listened and this has been supportive to you, please hit the like button, share with a friend. If you're interested in a reading or in one-to-one somatic release and neural reprogramming, you can connect with me on my website or one of the links down below. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me. I hope you have a beautiful new moon in Libra.